Hi, I'm Lois from the New Mexico Department of Health. This is part 5 of the training video series for developing an IBIS-q query module. This video reviews the query application URL. This URL is central to running a query because it is how the IBIS-View application communicates the query request to the back-end IBIS-q application. Understanding it will allow you to debug your queries. In an earlier video, we talked about the IBIS query sequence and that when the user clicks on the Submit button, that causes the View application to send a URL to the query application on the back-end data server. IBIS-q parses or reads this URL and is able to write a SAS program and submit it to SAS to get the results. So this is a very important URL to understand. In this query, I've selected 5 years, and I've indicated that I'd like my results to be cross-tabulated or displayed by year. When I click the Submit button, IBIS-View sends the query request URL to IBIS-q. Here are my results, just as requested. But we want to take a look at the URL that IBIS-View sent to IBIS-q. To do that, we want to click on this left navigation button to view the query definition XML. It comes up in your browser. It's a big file, so we want to use Control F to find this string here, query application URL, and here's what it looks like. It has some funky Java escape characters in it, so this little string right here is really just E:\\. It'll be easier to read the URL if we decode those characters, so I have pasted it into this URL decoder, and when I hit decode, here's what it looks like with the Java escape characters removed. So let's take a look at each part of the URL. This first part is the request. Since it's being sent over the internet, it needs to have the server name and the folder and program that it's being sent to. So that's what the first part of the query application URL does. This next part consists of, actually all these parts are name-value pairs. This first name-value pair is config equals, config is the name, equals some value. In this case, the value is the path and name of the .cfg file. We reviewed the CFG file in the 3rd video in this series. Next, we have 2 name-value pairs for the SAS and test parameters. These are special parameters that tell IBIS-q to return additional information in the results to help with debugging your query. SAS equals 0 is telling IBIS-q to return nothing additional from SAS. Likewise, test equals 0 is asking for no additional debugging information. SAS equals 1 requests the SAS program to be returned, the program that IBIS-q wrote. SAS equals 2 requests the log file from running that program. 3 requests the SAS output from running that program. And 4 requests the final TMP SAS data file that SAS returns to IBIS-q. The test parameter values are 1 through 9, and they summarize information that IBIS-q is using from the query application URL, then the config, and the .def files. This next name-value pair is the name of the .def file, or the SAS program template that we're telling IBIS-q to use. The parameter name is func because these files used to be called function files and the parameter name stuck. So you might hear them referred to as either func or .def files. These dimension names tell IBIS-q to filter the dataset to those dimension values, 2002, 2003, etc. In this case, filter the data to those years. Here, year is the IBIS-View dimension name. IBIS-q will use the information in the .cfg file to match up the dimension name to the SAS variable name. In this particular case, the SAS dataset variable name is also year. In this last name value pair, we have the dimension name for the cross tabulation variable. This tells IBIS-q to report the results by year. If we look at the results page again, you can see that IBIS-q filtered the dataset to the requested years and also stratified the results by year in the results table. This is the end of this video. Part 6 in the series will review your local development environment and how the query interface pages get created. The query interface pages create the URL that we just reviewed.